circulation of the stones 4 by 4 resulted in exactly the same thing as the circulation 1 by 1. For if I was finding 4 stones in the right pocket of my greatcoat that were totally different from the 4 stones in the left pocket, if they were totally different, the chance nevertheless remained of my always chancing on the same stone within each group of 4, and consequently of my not sucking the 16 stones turn and turn about as I had wished, but in fact 4 only. So I had to seek elsewhere and in the method of circulation.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obvious that if I had more pockets, if I could double the number of pockets, well, then I could probably double my chance of achieving the result that I had wanted, which was to suck the stones one after the other until the ones were depleted in my right pocket. Yeah. Had I 8 pockets, for example, instead of the 4 which I did have, well, then even the most diabolical circumstance could not prevent me from sucking at least 8 of those 16 stones turn and turn about. The truth is I should have needed 16 pockets. Otherwise I could never be quiet in my mind. And short of having 16 pockets, each with its own stone, there was no way I could achieve the result I had set for myself, short of an extraordinary circumstances. Oh, and if I could double the number of pockets, if it were only by dividing each pocket in 2 with the help of a few safety pins, let us say, to quadruple them seemed much more than I could manage, and I didn't want to put so much effort into a half measure, for I was beginning to lose all sort of measure with all this wrangling and wrestling, and I'm saying all or nothing. And if I was tempted for an instant to increase the circulation to achieve a more equitable distribution, it was only for, say, by doubling the number of pockets, it was only for an instant, for it would have been an admission of defeat. So there I sat on the beach, the sea before me, the stones, 16 stones spread out before my eyes, and I gazed at them in anger and perplexity. And then finally, one day it dawned on me suddenly that I might perhaps achieve the result that I had wanted by not increasing the number of pockets or decreasing the number of stones, but simply by sacrificing the principle of trim. Oh, the meaning of this revolution, which began to sing in me like a song from Jeremiah or Isaiah, it filled me with hope and wonder, I forget the rest of it.
This is a good introduction to Lear.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, let me see if
this is a good introduction to King Lear.
Yeah.
If you can combine it together.
Well, it's different from Lear, because Lear, Lear at the end, one of the things I see about Lear is, his descent into madness, whereas this character, while he does something that's rather, it's not totally rational what he's doing, he still has his wits about him. Where at the end of King Lear is completely mad. He's completely...
But can't you see his fool proclaiming or making the speech of Beckett's in front of him, and Lear makes Lear laugh?
Lear... There's... the thing that makes you laugh in Lear is the fool. And the fool's interaction with Lear.
At what stage you think Lear is becoming mad?
Well, the thing that I think with Lear is, I think that he
from the beginning.
He isn't mad in the beginning, but what is happening to him is I think that he's beginning to suffer from. I think he has Alzheimer's. That he's developing Alzheimer's, and that first of all, throughout his life, he's always been very unpredictable. He's always been volatile. He's always been, made decisions shooting from the hip. He shoots from the hip, and he does things rashly, and he's tempestuous, and he's always he's always making decisions without thinking.
Yeah.
In fact, his daughters even say to him, they even say about him that even in the best of times, he was always rash and foolhardy. So he shoots from the hip a lot. But the other thing about Lear is that everybody else says about him is that he commands respect and authority. When Kent comes to him and says, after he banishes Kent, and Kent disguises himself and he comes back and tells Lear, he says, I want to serve you. And Lear says to him, well, why do you want to serve me? And he says, because you have that which, you have authority. There's something about you that makes me want to serve you. So the challenge for an actor playing Lear is to be able to have that authority, because you have to see that Lear commands authority.
Yeah.
So there has to be something about him. He can't be a fool, and he can't be totally...
Well, it's a tragic figure. Yeah.
Yes, but the actor who plays him, I think, has to show his descent from... You have to see that descent. What makes him tragic is that he's a figure who goes from this place to this place.
Yeah.
So his madness happens incrementally as he goes along.
Yeah.
The first thing that he does, of course, is he turns on the daughter that loves him the most. And he's not mad at that point. He's angry at that. I mean, he's angry, but he hasn't become mad yet. And what happens as the play goes along, he begins to see the folly of his ways. And he begins to see all the things that he's done that have contributed to the fact that he has no power now, that his daughters are turning on him, the ones he gave away his kingdom to, and it eats at him, and he's at first unable to accept it, that he's unable to accept his fault. So he becomes mad. I think the finally thing that drives him insane is when he's put out on the heath, when he's put out into the storm, that he's realized that everything that he's done has brought him to the state that he's in.
Yeah.
And he's totally without power now. So he's gone from a person who has wielded all this power all his life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has always told him how great he was.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's always genuflected toward him. Everybody has always treated him as a god, almost. And now, people basically spit on him. He has no power. He can't even get shelter for the night. They turn him out. They take all his knights away from him. They strip him bare. They strip him absolutely bare. So he becomes totally empty of everything that he had up until that point. So I think that that's the point that he descends into madness, when everything is taken away from him. But by you talk about the philosophical implications of different plays. I mean, one of the things that Shakespeare is playing with in this play is the whole idea of blindness and seeing, truth and falsehood. Mm-hmm. So that Lear, when he has his eyesight and when he is in command of his faculties, he doesn't see the truth. It's only when he becomes nothing, when everything is stripped away from him, that he can finally begin to see, that he does not see the truth until he becomes mad. His madness takes him into the realm of truth, so that he begins to see.
But isn't I agree. But I'm asking, is his madness can be seen metaphorical to the world of actors that produces a certain face, and then the worlds react to the face that you show, not seeing that you're wearing a mask.
I'm missing your
Why
point.
he decide to give up his assets to his daughters?
Well, the reason he gives it up, he is suffering under the illusion that he can give away all his external power, but still retain the kingship.
Okay.
So that's his first mistake.
This is not his mistake. He's playing with the world again, and the world understood that is his wish somehow, and he reacted accordingly. He is the victim also.
Well, he's the victim of his own. He's the victim of his own poor judgment.
Yeah, but why his daughters and his sons of law are that poor in understanding his inner life?
That part to me is very clear.
Why?
I think that one of the mistakes that I see a lot of productions making with the two daughters, Goneril and Regan, is they portray them right from the beginning as evil, that they're evil. And
No.
they're not evil at the beginning. They're not evil at all.
Yeah.
Everything that they do, up until the point where they refuse to let him come in from the storm, everything that they do up to that point is totally rational. It's what a rational person
Yeah,
would do
נכון.
under the circumstances. Because here's the circumstances. Lear, first of all, is dividing his kingdom into three,
Yeah.
and the daughter that he loves the most, he banishes.
Cordelia.
Yeah, he banishes her. So the daughters look at that and they say, oh my God, what is this guy doing? He loved her most of all. Look what he just did to her. Now, he's saying that he's retiring basically, and he's going to come, and each month he's going to come with 100 knights, which you have to remember is a powerful political force back in this time. To have 100 knights at your command is a powerful force.
Yeah.
So the daughters are basically saying, what's to prevent him, since he's so rash in everything that he does, and his behavior is so erratic, what's to prevent him from staging a coup and taking back that power?
Yeah.
So they're trying to dismantle his train, which in fact they do. First they cut it in half. They cut it
Yeah.
from 100 to 50, and then they cut it from 50 to 25, and finally they say, you don't even need one. And they're absolutely right, because what they say to him is they say, first of all, he's misbehaving with his knights. Throughout, and Shakespeare writes this in the play, that they're rowdy, they're drunken, they're not behaving well at all.
No.
And it's like a party. King Lear is having like a big retirement party that goes on for months and months, and he goes from place to place all over the countryside with these 100 riotous knights, causing all sorts of problems. So the daughters are saying, you can't do this, you can't. And how does he react? With rage. What do you mean I can't do this? Of course I can do this. And you're trying to tell me that my men are this? No, my men are the best. My men are great. You can't do this. You can't do this. So he's raging against his daughters. So finally the daughters are saying, to protect themselves, they're saying, we've got to do something. We've got to put this man in check. And they say to him, you should have been old. You should have been wise before you were old.
So you say Lear is drunk with overpower?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then
So-
finally what happens to
So
him,
he's not mad?
he is mad. That's the definition of
No,
madness.
madness I mean like Macbeth or Lady Macbeth, they're getting mad at some place after committing the murder. It's kind of...
It's their actions that drive them mad. The thing that drives Macbeth mad is his guilt. He cannot deal with his guilt. That's really what drove him mad. Lady Macbeth, I don't think ever went mad. She realized that she was losing everything, that everything was being lost. Her husband's off there, you know, this guy that she loved, he's over there and being, you know, he becomes not a man anymore. You know, implicit in the play, I think, is that they stop having sex even. In the beginning, they were very sexually involved, and at the end of the play, Macbeth can do nothing except be in a corner and just lament his guilt and how bad he feels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what drives Macbeth mad, is guilt, and what
Yeah.
drives Lady Macbeth mad is the loss of her husband, really. And the fact that they're going to pretty soon lose the kingdom.
What makes Lear mad? The
I think
miscalculation
I think
of his
it's
acts?
the loss of power,
The loss-
and the inability to face his life without power,
Without authority.
without authority. And that everybody has power over him now. He can't do anything without permission from these daughters. He can't even get a piece of bread. And then the other thing and how Lear begins to descend out of the madness, Lear begins to see, because when he's driven mad on the heath, which is with the height of his madness, one of the things when he starts to calm down, he looks around at the storm and he says something to the effect that, wow, everybody in my kingdom is out there suffering the same storm. And he says, oh, all these poor wretches in my kingdom, I should have paid more attention to them over the years. I never paid any attention to them. And he says, you know,